All right, so we are live. So here's what we've come up with for this week. Our group has talked a little bit via email and just briefly before starting the broadcast about what we've come up with for this week. And it seems that the Wall Street Journal does not seem to favor any stories regarding reasonable accommodations as defined by the ADA. And so what we've done is Becky has shared with us a real-life example that applies to her at her job. So Becky, would you go ahead and share that with us?
Sure. So one of our my coworkers in our office is in a wheelchair, and when they redid our offices, they had to make sure they accommodated his height of his desk to fit his wheelchair under and make sure he didn't have extra chairs around like the rest of us did, so he could go in and out. And then they've also recently had to accommodate the double doors and put in a handicapped accessible doors to hold them open because it was just getting too hard to keep holding them open by himself.
Awesome, thank you. Anyway, so what's going to happen is our group is we're going to be submitting, I think for the most part, hypothetical questions or examples that we've seen from our own lives where we've seen employers apply this concept of reasonable accommodations for employees that we work alongside. What's unique about this is reading the laws put in place. There are no specific guidelines because they believe that every disability per every individual is unique to that individual. And so whatever accommodations may be necessary could be different for one than it would be for another. And so it's really left to the discretion of the employer with communication with the employee to know what they can do to move forward. And that's why I think because of that extreme vagueness is what makes it really difficult to try to find stories and reports on this subject. Brig, is there anything you want to share?
Not really. I think that was good. I think that covers it. You guys did a good job.
All right, sounds good. So real quick, so going from the example that Becky gave, we're just going to kind of go through our questions, what we got. We posed the question of which of the following accommodations would not be required by an employer who has an employee in a wheelchair. So the one extreme we came up with was to put a flag on the wheelchair so other employees could see him coming. This would have nothing to do with his actual work performance, and therefore would have nothing to do with a reasonable accommodation or anything like that. But as Becky mentioned, some things that could be done would be putting up a ramp anywhere where there's steps he'd have to get over. They did put in an automated door that would remain open longer so that he could get through easier. And then the other thing was they adjusted his desk so that he would be able to maneuver his wheelchair around it and underneath it well enough to be able to do the work he needed to. So those are all of the things we identified. Of course, there's others, but that's what we came up with for this week. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Cool. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end this broadcast.